and here we are at 2. We have those aerial images. We know officers are on the scene, students being let out. A reunification center is going to be set up here shortly because, as you would imagine, some very nervous parents there in Dallas. All right, welcome back here locally. So April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we have to talk about that. So we have a special guest in studio. We'll get to her in a second, but we are also talking tariffs today. They're going to be going into effect. Obviously, that's going to lead to the potential of consumers paying more for various items. But first, today we want to start with a guilty plea and a political back and forth that's been going on for quite some time now, and it's unfolding in Fort Bend County. Taral Patel, the former Precinct 3 candidate, pleaded guilty today to 2 counts of misdemeanor misrepresentation of identity by a candidate. So there he is, heading into the courthouse some time ago. But in the plea, he admitted to committing one of the misdemeanors along with Fort Bend County Judge KP George. That's KP right there on your screen. Now, Taral Patel and the County Judge KP George are both accused of taking part in a series of fake online accounts and making fake racist threats in a bid to try to attract sympathy from the public and support from the voters, leading to a win in those seats. Now, Patel agreed to a 2-year deferred adjudication, which required him to complete community service, have no contact with the victims, and to write letters of apology to each victim and the Fort Bend County at large. Now, Patel also promised to cooperate in future legal proceedings. So that means against Fort Bend County Judge KP George. That's a huge development here in this case. Now, remember, earlier this month, KP George was indicted as well on charges of money laundering. So here's reporter Randy Wallace the day those new charges were actually filed.
Fort Bend County Judge KP George only spent a few hours here at the Fort Bend County Jail. He turned himself in and then posted 2 $10,000 bonds. Last year, it was misdemeanor charges of misrepresentation of identity that landed Fort Bend County Judge KP George in legal hot water. Now he's charged with 2 counts of money laundering, a 3rd-degree felony. In a statement, the Fort Bend County DA's office says the district attorney's office has continuously stated that the investigation was ongoing and that the investigation has now led to 2 3rd-degree felony indictments for money laundering, which were made public today. These charges are unrelated to the pending misdemeanor and are assigned to the 458th District Court. In his statement, County Judge George says, as an elected official, I have always operated with integrity and transparency. Let me be absolutely clear. There is nothing illegal about loaning personal funds to my own campaign and later repaying that loan. This is a standard and lawful practice.
As a practical matter, that's true, unless the funds you loaned to your campaign are proceeds of an illegal activity. If the money you loaned were the proceeds of an illegal activity, that is the definition of money laundering in Texas.
George accuses the DA and sheriff of a smear campaign. The Fort Bend County Democratic Party wants George to resign.
Instead of owning up to some of the things that he's brought on himself, he has decided to throw good people under the bus like our Fort Bend County DA and our Fort Bend County Sheriff. And to blame other people for the things that he has brought on himself says a lot about his integrity.
George is scheduled to appear in court on the misdemeanor charge on April 22nd. He's yet to get a court date for these felony charges. Reporting from Fort Bend County, Randy Wallace, Fox 26 News.
All right, Randy, thank you so much. Well, if you didn't know, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and joining me now to talk about what's going on in the area and some valuable resources and support that everyone can utilize now, we are joined by Emily Whitehurst, the CEO of HAWK, Houston's oldest and primary rape crisis center. Emily, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for doing this segment. I
Of course,
appreciate it.
it's an important topic, right?
It is.
So if viewers aren't familiar with your organization and what you do in the community, kind of give us an understanding.
So the Houston Area Women's Center has, for sexual assault survivors, a 24-hour hotline where survivors can call anonymously anytime. It doesn't matter when that assault happened. It doesn't matter how old you are, how long ago it was. We are there. We are trained to listen, to provide you feedback, and then connect you to resources. In addition, we have a 24-hour hospital accompaniment program. So if somebody is assaulted and goes to the hospital, our trained advocates are there. We have a nice packet of fresh, clean clothes, and we just make sure that they know that they're not alone and that help is available. Oftentimes, in the wake of a sexual assault, it takes time to process. It's important to remember that most sexual assaults are perpetrated by somebody the victim knows, so their entire social network may be implicated if they were to come forth. And that's why having a 24-hour anonymous support center is so important for the Houston area community, and we are that support center. And then we have free counseling services. We have individual counseling and group counseling, and that's where survivors come together and often do the most important work of healing in that community that they create, where they realize, you know, this is not my fault, and it's impacting my life in ways that I have the power to change once I get the information and support from others who've been through it too.
Yeah, that's so very well said. And you know, you mentioned the word support a couple of times, and even in that statement, and you guys are really focusing on that word and kind of an acronym for you this month. Kind of dive into that a little bit for us as well.
You're gonna make me say that acronym, which I'm not sure I can do, but really, the point of this is that, you know, I think sometimes for people who know somebody who's been assaulted or they disclose to you that they don't know what to do, they don't know what to say, they don't know how to act. And they may have their own implicit biases. You know, the thing about sexual assault that's so interesting and tragic, obviously the impact on the victim is tragic, but also that the public, whether we want to admit it or not, we almost always think, well, the person who was victimized had something to do with it. You know, if your car's broken into, nobody thinks, well, you know, you did something to deserve that.
Yeah.
But with sexual assault, it really is still a bias that we all have somewhere lurking. And so it can be hard to know how to respond appropriately and caringly to somebody who's been assaulted. So that the support acronym is to try and show there's many different ways that you can offer support. But the main thing is to not bring any kind of judgment or shame, and to remember that this experience doesn't need to have the last word on this person's life, but they really probably do need a lot of care and support. And that's where working with the Houston Area Women's Center and our advocates is really important.
And that healing process, that's a journey, right? And it's unique to every individual.
Yeah, and you know, healing is a mysterious and amazing process, but I think part of what many sexual assault survivors don't recognize is the initial experience is traumatic, and then the brain almost does a thing to just like minimize it in your own for your own self. And so it may not be till months or years later, especially if the abuse is in childhood, that you recognize, I've created my entire life lived strategy around adapting to this trauma, and it may or may not be serving me any longer. So that opportunity to safely acknowledge this happened, name the trauma, and explore different ways of living in the wake of that trauma is what our trained advocates are so good at. I think the other thing is, you know, this is a very underreported crime. There's all kinds of statistics. It's 1 in 4, we really don't know. But what we know is this is so pervasive. It is so pervasive. And whether it's young college women who are getting assaulted by tricks in their drink, or it's children, or it's women, or it's just harassment in the workplace, it is happening on so many fronts. We all know somebody who's experienced this. And I want us to really think this month about what we can do collectively to address it. And one of the main things is making sure that we understand that the behavior of the perpetrator is the problem, not the behavior of the victim.
What can we do? What can the public do to kind of step in and help in any way possible? Like, what do you need from the public, or how can someone get involved?
Money.
Money.
Am I allowed to say that?
No, you're very much so allowed to say that. You're
Well, let me
very
tell
much
you,
allowed.
you know, having a 24-hour hotline for this community and be able to serve thousands and thousands of sexual assault survivors, all for free, all confidentially, means we really do look to the public to invest in our services. We at the Houston Area Women's Center get to see the healing that transpires, so we know the benefit of that investment. And what I really would love to just make sure people know is that those dollars that they provide to support our organization go directly to supporting services for survivors. Everything is free. We do have a luncheon coming up on April 23rd, and we'll be interviewing the new DA and a CEO executive talking about the value of public-private partnerships for ending and preventing sexual assault and domestic violence. So you can go to our website, www.hawc.org, and then there's lots of resources on our website about sexual assault, what constitutes sexual assault, what kinds of support we have available. We want everybody in Houston to know that this resource is available so that they're not having to navigate the trauma of this experience on their own.
Yeah, and remember, it doesn't matter when the assault took place. You can reach out.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Emily, thank you so much.
Thank
really
you,
important
thank you.
conversation. I'm glad you stopped by.
I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thank you so much. All right, I believe, Lee, we're going to head back to Dallas here really quickly. All right. Let's get back to Dallas, you guys. We are, again, looking at Sky 4 over Dallas right now. This is over at Wilmer-Hutchins High School. We got word at around 1 o'clock that police received a call for a shooting at this high school. Now, we haven't received any confirmation that a shooting actually took place at the high school or if any students or teachers were injured. But what you're seeing here in the stands of the football field at the high school, those are students. Right now, we're getting word that there is a reunification center being set up shortly. And I believe we are standing by for some sound as well.
Say your name and spell it.
Shauna Williams, SHAUNNIA WILLIAMS.
All right, and who in your family goes to this school?
My son, I got two sons, Josiah and Tyrese.
What are their grades?
11 and 9.
Okay, so how did all this unfold? What did you hear first?
He called me frantically crying. Mama is shooting, and I think he was outside because he had this guy from Career Institute. And he called me and said, Mama, I got bullets flying around my head. And I was like frantic. I had to rush from work to get here. Wow. And I was panicking. And I nearly fell out by my car before I even got here. So I had to pray and ask God, hey, please, don't let me wreck and crash before I get to my kids.
Okay, so where did he say the shooting took place?
He said in the cafeteria.
Okay.
He said he saw two of his friends get shot.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Two.
And was he able to tell if they're okay?
Yeah, he don't know. They don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as a mom, how are you feeling right now?
Very frantic. I was crying. My face might be a little muggy and sweaty right now because I had to park way back there and go way up there to the stadium to get my sons. But I'm just thankful I was able to get my kids and they was alive. But my heart goes out to the parents that had this tragedy happen to their children. It's the parents' worst nightmare to deal with that.
What kind of message or communication did you get from the district?
None. Oh, they sent me they sent us a voicemail saying that everything was taken into consideration, and it's the lockdown, it's over, everything is okay. But I didn't know that before, though.
And is that when they said, come get your student at the...
No, my son told me to come get him.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know anything about it until he said something. It just had happened. Just had happened. Because he just got the bus from the Career Institute. And they just said that, Mama, I'm outside. I didn't know what was going on.
Do you feel like the school needs to do more to keep kids safe?
Well, they put in protocol last year telling us that they'll do more. And they have the detectives and metal detectors and stuff in there. They have the kids that wear badges and everything. So it's just about people that probably other kids let people in. I don't know. Okay. I don't know what happened. So.
Okay. And have there been? I've been hearing that there were other shootings here recently.
Last year.
What happened last year?
Last year around this time, a little boy got shot. Somebody got shot on the campus. But my son said they were okay. But I still came and tried to check it out, and they were okay. But I just feel my heart goes out to the parents that have to go through that.
Is it going to be hard to take your kids to school here tomorrow?
Oh yeah, and they're not going. And I'm thinking about taking them out and putting them in homeschool. Because it's something I can't keep going through this as a parent. I'm telling you, it's very frightening to ever think about losing your child, and your kids. This is terrible. But they're over there now. Thank God they're standing. But my heart goes out to the parents that had to deal with this tragedy today. So sad.
Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, you just heard from that parent there, obviously frantic, but one thing I want to touch on that she just mentioned, that this is not the first time there's been a shooting at that school, so you can imagine her frustration having to come back here for a second time. We know that in April of last year, a 17-year-old at the time had a weapon in his bag. It triggered the metal detector, but no one stopped him, so then he shot another student in the classroom, and that student survived. But again, as you heard the parent mention there are metal detectors at the school, at least we know of as of last year. And the mom says that the school said that they would do more. But here we are again, and you can see there's an ambulance there on the campus. This is a ground shot, so just give us a minute here. You can see this is our sister station, Fox 4 in Dallas. Very active scene there. So that is our reporter, Steven.
We're going to do a reset right now to let you know what's happening.
In a second.
Behind me, you still see a lot of cop lights, but Dallas IC just tweeted that the high school itself is secure. They said that they will put information about reunification out shortly, and they are urging parents, guardians to bring a photo ID with them when that reunification location is set. Now, sources confirmed to Fox 4 that a teen has been shot in the lower leg. That's according to sources. We are still awaiting official information from law enforcement. I'm gonna step out of the scene so you can see what's going on behind me. Right now, you're looking at the school, and you see a number of law enforcement vehicles in front of the school. But again, the latest information from Dallas ISD is the high school is secure. So what officers are doing right now is just making sure that they're clearing out every room, making sure that students, no one else is injured, and making sure that the students are being moved to the football stadium. While Dallas ISD has said that they will put out the reunification information soon. Unless I start seeing some school buses, parents have been picking up their students from the football stadium, which is also on campus. So if we swing around to the football stadium, you'll see an EMS out there. Two actually just pulled up. We don't know if that's in response to, it's not that hot, but if someone is dealing with some other issues, those Wilmer Fire Rescue units just pulled up not too long ago. But there are students sitting in the bleachers of the football stadium. And so those students, of course, are waiting. Some parents have already picked people up. So we are checking on that. Okay. Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins just walked up. He said he has no information right now. Again, the latest information that we have from sources is that a teenager was shot in the lower leg. We do have video of an EMS leaving the scene with a police officer vehicle behind it. So that is confirming that there was some type of shooting. We don't have any description of the shooter. We do not know if the shooter is in custody. We don't know if the shooter was a student. Those questions have not been answered yet. We hope to get more information about. Again, Dallas ISD about 5 minutes ago just said that the scene is secure. And so that is a good thing as far as letting you know that there is not an active shooter situation still going on. What you're looking at right now, you can see students kind of in front of the football stadium. And there's a person in a gurney being loaded into the EMS. We don't know the extent of their injury. We don't know when they were injured or where they were injured. And so we'll have to wait to see if officials will confirm more than one injury. But we do know that someone was taken to the hospital. We're told a teenager shot in the lower leg. Now, almost to the day, I was out here in the same spot at Wilmer-Hutchins reporting on a shooting in the school. This school does have a security process, a bag check process that students go through when they enter campus in the morning. And the incident that happened a year ago on the same campus involved a student's bag making it through that security check, and then ultimately a student injuring another student with a handgun. So we are waiting for all the details on this situation, but literally.
All right, that is the very latest there at Wilmer-Hutchins High School in Dallas, Texas. This is all live here. A call for a shooting there at the school. According to, you were just listening to Stephen Dial, reporter at our sister station there, Fox 4. According to him, sources are saying that a teen was shot in the leg. The high school is currently secure. A reunification center is being set up for parents. Their officers are on campus just making sure to secure and clear out all of the rooms there in the high school, and the students are being led to the stands at the football stadium. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come right back here on Houston Live and Local. Welcome back to Houston Live and Local. This is a live look now at Wilmer-Hutchins High School in Dallas, Texas. You can see the large police presence there. That's because at around 1 o'clock, there was a call for a shooting at this high school. We are still learning to get more information confirmed for you, but as of right now, according to our sister station, Fox 4 in Dallas, their sources are saying that a teen was in fact shot in the leg. The high school is currently secure. The students are being led to the stands at the football stadium there at the school. Now, the school is located in the 5500 block of Langdon Road. And as of right now, according to Dallas ISD, a reunification center is being set up for parents, but parents are already at the school, some looking to pick up their kids as soon as possible. But a very scary scene here, especially since this very month, April, a year ago, there was a shooting at this same high school. In that situation, a 17-year-old had a weapon in his bag. Now, it triggered the metal detector, but no one stopped him. So then he shot another student in the classroom. Thankfully, though, that student survived. So here we are a year later, and parents are back at this school dealing with another traumatic situation here at Wilmer-Hutchins High School in Dallas. We're going to continue to follow this developing story there. We are expected to have some more updates for you, especially during our 5 and 6 o'clock newscasts here on Fox 26. Before we go here on Houston Live and Local one more time, I want to give you guys another update on a story that has been just viral in our #1 story on Fox26Houston.com. So yesterday, we told you about a Southwest Houston funeral home that was ordered by the state to cease and desist operations there after a video went viral, and it showed bodies everywhere, and there was no air conditioning in there, some dating back since February. This has been a story that's been developing so fast for us, and now we know today A guy by the name of Donald Gordon said on Sunday, April 13th, a representative from Richardson Mortuary, which has now been hit with a cease and desist letter, reached out to him about his mother's remains. But he said the rep asked to meet him at a public place, not at the mortuary. Right? But he requested that his mother's remains be brought to his home. So Gordon said he received his mother's remains in a white box and it was labeled with her name. But pay attention to the date. He says that according to the date on that box, she was cremated on March 17th of 2025. Her funeral was December 21st, 2024. Yeah. He says the communication has really been bad with the mortuary. It's been scarce based on the timeline of his mother's death to when she was cremated, and he just wonders if she was in the same conditions that we've seen in that now viral video here online. If you need to get caught up on what that story entails, fox26houston.com. As a matter of fact, last week I got a call from a man who went to that same mortuary with his sister, and he's the one that posted that video on social media. Now, according to him, there was a back and forth between someone that was an employee at the mortuary as well. They engaged in an argument, and then he was allegedly stabbed. Police were called, and as he got to the hospital, he called me on my cell phone to tell me about what was taking place. Our Jonathan Mejia got to the scene there before police even arrived. So this is a story we've been paying very close attention to here because it continues to develop, and now we know the state is shutting down that mortuary, Richardson mortuary there in Southwest Houston. And what we know so far about the owner, we were told as well, our Jonathan Mejia has been primarily reporting on this, and he was told that the owner of that mortuary is in the hospital with some sort of condition, some health-related condition, and he's been there for quite some time. So again, that's the story that's continuing to develop. Fox26houston.com if you need some more details. I'm sorry, Lee, I had a hard time hearing you a second ago. All right, so now let's listen to some sound bites now on this very topic. Take a listen.
She had me sign a blank piece of paper with my name and the date, which reflected yesterday, for me to be able to receive my mother's remains. She expressed that she would replace, or she would pay to replace the 3 urns that we given her, that was either in the mortuary or at this point presumably lost.
Obviously, a very heartbreaking situation to think of your loved one being treated like that in their final moments. We'll have more on that story at 5 and 6. But before we go on Houston Live and Local, let's get one last look here at Dallas at Wilmer-Hutchins High School. You can see a large police presence, parents outside as well. There was a call for a shooting at around 1 o'clock. Our sources in Dallas at Fox 4, our sister station, they're being told that at least one student was shot in the leg. You can see the ambulance there as well. We don't know the nature of some of these injuries here to the students or staff members, but again, all we know so far is that at least one student, according to our sources, was shot in the leg. Now, this is Stephen Dial, a reporter at our sister station. Let's kind of listen into his latest report.
Yes, and so the photo ID is a big thing because that's how they're going to match you with the student. And again, when we got here almost an hour ago, we were told to urge people not to come to campus. The latest news that you mentioned from Dallas ISD was a reunification location would be announced, and so we're awaiting that information. But I mean, officers are clearly letting parents walk this way, so some people are reuniting with their children. Say your last part again. I'm hearing a little mixed minus guys in the booth. Say your question one more time, Steve. This school does have a metal detection process in place. Now, things may have changed or evolved, seeing as there was an incident this time last year where a gun made its way in. But we're waiting to see the latest information from Dallas IC. Of course, it's a fluid situation. we're kind of sometimes the last to find out things, but we are waiting for more information.
All right, you just heard from Stephen Dow there, our reporter on the ground at our sister station, Fox 4 in Dallas. You can see an ambulance right there, parents lining up, many of them desperately trying to get to their sons or daughters there at Wilmer-Hutchins High School. At around 1 o'clock there in Dallas, there was a call for a shooting there at the high school. Police immediately responded to the scene. What we learned here today, though, tragically, there was a shooting at this very high school a year ago. And look at this moment right here. That's just sometimes, we've had so many of these school shootings that have taken place over the years, but some of these images, it's still very difficult to process. This shooting happened in the 5500 block of Langdon Road. That's where the school is located. Our sources at Fox 4, they're reporting that at least one student was shot in the leg. We have seen multiple ambulances there on the scene. We've even seen someone taken into the back of that ambulance right there in particular. Now, it's hot outside, and a lot of these kids that were inside of the high school are being led to the stands at the football field. And just a short time ago, you saw administrators grabbing cases of water. But as you can see, lots of parents, this day and age, as soon as something like this happens, so many kids are texting and calling their parent or guardian, just desperately trying to get to a safe place or speak to someone they love. And we know that Dallas ISD was trying to set up a reunification center, but you can see the parents. They are already there on campus. They are already trying to get to their sons or daughters as soon as possible. But just a real traumatic situation. We heard from one parent earlier in our broadcast that spoke about the frustration with this being the second time. She even went as far as saying that she's thinking about taking her son out of the school and homeschooling him because this is the second time. As a matter of fact, almost to the day, April 2024 is when there was a previous shooting. We know there are metal detectors at this school as well. It didn't stop the shooting from taking place in 2024. And here we are again here today. Again, really sad day there in Dallas at Wilmer-Hutchins High School for a report of a shooting that came in at around 1 o'clock. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to stay on top of this, as you would imagine here. So we're going to have more details for you on our Fox 26 News at 5 and 6. And hopefully we get a press conference from officials and law enforcement here soon so we can really confirm